Welcome to another edition of On the Money with a Certified Financial Group here on News 96.5. WDBO's Ask the Experts Weekend. We are here with Aaron Burt and Nancy Heck, Certified Financial Planner Professionals, Certified Financial Group. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you guys today?
It almost feels like fall outside, huh?
Almost. Don't jinx it.
Almost. Walked outside this morning, opened my garage. It was like 6 in the morning, though, so the sun wasn't quite up. And
Yeah, lower
cool.
70s.
Well, that's what I have to say. When you leave the house a little bit after 5, then yeah, it is fall. Although my pop-up on Facebook was, 2 years ago now, we had a hurricane. So
Yes.
So let's not complain about the weather.
I'm
2 years ago
I'm
now.
not complaining. I said it felt like fall. We had the
Yeah.
sliding glass doors open this morning.
Yeah, no, it got in the car and it's like, oh, it's not hot in here. That's fantastic.
And the sun
Yes.
came up and we closed the doors and turned the air on.
That's it.
That's what we do here in Florida. in
You got that
October,
1
right?
hour of nice fresh air. I get it. I understand. If you get up early enough, you can have your cup of coffee outside.
Yeah,
That's great.
That's what we did this morning. It was nice.
That's great. Well, right now, as we get the day started here on the Certified Financial Group's On the Money show here on News 96.5, we are going to take your phone calls at 844-220-0965. About what, Mr. Burt?
Well, we are here, Nancy and I are here, to talk about anything having to do with your personal finances. Monday through Friday, we have clients come in and see us, and we cover all sorts of topics, usually revolving around personal financial planning. But we do deal with businesses and their corporate 401ks, and people talk to us about Social Security and long-term health care and stocks and bonds and mutual funds and real estate and whether they should refinance their mortgage or keep it or all sorts of different topics. So Nancy and I are here today on this Saturday morning, which was a lovely morning, as we just said, to answer your calls. And I don't think we're taking texts this morning, so we're just here to take your calls.
Text machine is still in the shop.
Yeah, text machine's in the shop. So if you have a question, pick up the phone and dial
844-220-0965, 844-220-0965. And even though the text machine is not working, you can still go to facebook.com/certified financial group and click on the live video and leave a comment.
Yeah,
You'll see it
so
there.
we're here live too. We're broadcasting via Facebook Live. So if you want to check that out, you can actually be alerted every time we go live by going to our Facebook page and clicking like for Certified Financial Group. And we are taking questions, so I'm monitoring that as well. So if you do have a question, you don't want to get on the air and you would rather just type it into Facebook, feel free to do that as well. So,
well, let's get today's topic of conversation here: volatility with pot stocks.
This is a question we've actually been seeing a lot, and I know Nancy has a little bit of experience with this because
Right.
some of her clients have been asking her about it. I hear it on the periphery, just clients asking, because we don't normally deal in individual securities, but when something gets as much press as pot stocks have been getting lately, or cannabis stocks, or however you want to call it, you just hear about it, it's hitting the news, and there's been a lot of press lately about pot stocks. You got any comments?
Yeah,
on this,
well, cannabis is the more polite way to talk about it. I've had a number of people have asked me about it. I mean, and I look upon it as maybe the tech world when it first started. If you're bound and determined to invest in this market, you first of all have to be willing to hang on to the stocks for a very long period of time. And you have to be prepared to lose whatever you may potentially want to invest in that. It is still in its infancy. I have a couple clients that are medical marijuana users, and they're the ones that are, really up on what the emerging technology and uses are, and those are the people that really want to buy those things. But it's part of their everyday life.
Yes.
But the world is still just so immature, and stuff is hitting the marketplace and trying to make it stick, and it's not necessarily. I do believe that eventually medical marijuana will be legal throughout the whole country. I think until the proceeds are federalized, it's really not going to be a stable investment type of thing, because what are these people doing with the money that they're making from us? So there's too many roadblocks to, long-term success in this market right now, but it is certainly an emerging market.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think is the next, people are always looking for the next big, to get rich quick kind of thing. And it almost reminds me of the dot-com bubble from 99, 2000, where anything with .com in it, people were snapping up and putting money into it and just hoping to try and make some money. Pets.com, or I actually have my own personal story. So when I was in college, during the .com craze, I purchased a stock. It was called Accelera.com. And I got, I think, I'm trying to remember, I invested $600 and I got 10 shares at $60 a piece. So $600 investment. Within 6 months, it was worth $15,000. $15,000. So you can do the rate of return
And
on
was that
Wow.
your level of greed? Did you sell?
No, I still own it today,
Yeah.
and today it's worth nothing. So
Ah.
I learned the hard way
Right.
about, and then again, this is before I knew any better. So
Yeah.
I learned the hard way about trying to, first of all, getting greedy and jumping onto something that is a craze, because at that time anything with .com in it was just going up astronomically, and then you're the last one holding the bag, and I was one of the ones that was a loser. So.
Yeah, it seems a lot of people were investing money in companies that didn't exactly have a business model or a profit margin. Yeah, it kept going up and up and up and up.
And that's one of the things about the pot craze right now
Yeah.
is that they're
What's the
really not
business
making
model?
any money. There's one particular stock, which I won't give the name though. When it hit its high, it was released this year. It hit its high. It was bigger than Clorox and General Mills market cap wise. It has no profits, but its market cap was bigger than Clorox or General Mills, which everyone knows. I mean, they make consumer products that people use all the time. Huge profits in those companies.
Yeah.
This stock had no profits, but its market cap was bigger than those companies. And that's the kind of euphoria that we're seeing in this type of stuff. And anytime there's that much speculation, it's probably better to just sit on the sidelines, or if you just have a few $600 to throw at something.
Yeah,
and see
and
if
again,
it
if
sticks.
you have to be prepared to lose whatever you might be wanting to put into that arena.
It's super high risk, possibly high reward, but more risk than I'm willing to take. So
Yeah, especially because even though if it's legalized, well, is it going to be heavy regulated? You know, and who knows how long
Well,
it
and
could be.
again, they have to federalize the use of the dollar. So,
and the funny thing is they're all companies. So just like any company, it needs to be well run. It needs to make more than it's spending. It's right now it's just euphoria and craze on future prospects, and it's just something that personally I would stay away from. So.
Okay. Well, if you have a question, 844-220-0965. It's 844-220-0965. The calendar is turned to October. It is October 6th, and I tell you what, we've moved into fourth quarter. So, one of the things I like to talk about with Certified Financial Group, and this is me just having a personal conversation on the air with them, what are those final year-end checklists we should be thinking about? Should we be looking at our 401k and getting ready? If there's anything we can add to it, if we're made of a little bit more money so far this year, or is this now the time to prepare for 2019?
well, rebalancing right now is key.
Mm-hmm.
We've had it's been an interesting year for the markets. A lot of the equity markets really had not turned into positive ground until mid-June of this year. But there's been a lot of good economic news, and it's important to remember what your risk tolerance is and not be afraid to take profits off the table. For example, what you just said about that $600 you invested. Selling gains and reallocating your portfolio around your mix is not a bad thing. That's one way to hang on to the gains that you've attained. So it's important to rebalance and then reassess your risk. And as you had mentioned, if you have not maxed out your pre-tax contributions, see what you could do over the next couple months to maybe increase what you're contributing and take advantage of that tax break.
Yeah, this is the time of the year that if you don't have a retirement plan, so if you're thinking about opening up an IRA, you got to do that before the end of before you file your taxes. Also think about setting up solo 401k plans for yourself if you're self-employed and you think you're going to have a lot of money coming in this year, profit, a way to sock away some of that money and not have to pay taxes on it or defer the taxes on it. SEP IRAs, again, if you're self-employed. There's lots of different strategies right now to think about ways to be putting away money, because a lot of those tax deductions that people used to get have gone away because of the standard deduction going up. You're not going to be able to take those tax deductions that you used to be able to get. Now, theoretically, your taxes should be lower, but if you were planning on taking a tax deduction for your mortgage interest or your charitable giving or any of those things, you're probably not going to be able to do that anymore just because of how big the deduction is.
And along those lines, planning is a huge part of what we do. And I had a client this week ask me to run the scenario of what if they converted their 401ks to Roth 401ks? So it was a matter of rerunning plans for them, with a full conversion and paying taxes on everything that they would convert. And it was interesting to look at what happened to the nest egg, in the current years and then as time went on, because they would have to pay taxes. Therefore, the amount that they convert would be less, assuming that they're taking the taxes from the 401k dollars that they're converting. So the time value of money, they had a smaller pot working for that length of period of time, and it ended up making a $200,000 to $300,000 difference in the long run, year after year after year. Now, whether or not they want to bite the bullet and pay the taxes has not been determined yet, but that's an interesting thing to look at this time as you're getting prepared for what your potential tax picture is going to be next year under the new tax laws.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting time come tax time because a lot of people.
It's not the same rules
No,
anymore.
The rules are completely different.
You can't copy and paste what you did last year.
No,
Not at all.
Not at all. So, I mean, those are the types of things come the end of the year you need to be looking at, trying to figure out ways to sock away or save more money to defer taxes. Like Nancy said, reevaluating your risk, possibly doing some rebalancing. And again, if you have a 401k at work and you haven't been contributing and they match, try and figuring out ways to sock money into that so that you can get that full employer match. We did a 401k enrollment this week for a new employer, just brought them online, and everybody that was there was trying to figure out how to maximize their 5% contribution so that they could get their 4% match by the end of the year. 6 payrolls, they're trying to figure out how to sock that money. I mean, that's the kind of conversations or thoughts that you need to be having, especially if you're not contributing to your 401k and the employer does some sort of matching. You know, you're leaving free money on the table. For those people, it's an 80% return on their money just by putting in that 5%. So.
And what a lot of people don't realize is you're either sending the money to the federal government or you're sending it to your own retirement account. You're not taking new dollars out of your pocket. It's either going to taxes because you're not saving it, or it's going into your own 401k bucket.
Okay.
So.
Well, if you have a question, it's 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. I know we've covered a lot here in the first segment, but we know we have the text machine is broken. So if you've been texting 21232, we can't see it. The machine is in the shop. It is not here in the studio today. But we invite you to go over to Facebook and check out the Certified Financial Group's page. We've got our video up, and you can leave a comment in the video, and we'll be able to see that and ask that question on the air. So that's another way outside of the phone lines in case you just don't want to dial us up. We are planning tomorrow.
Today.
With Aaron Burton and Nancy Heck for the Certified Financial Group right here on News 96.5 WDBO.
Now.
And welcome back. This is On the Money with the Certified Financial Group right here on News 96.5 WDBO. We're all here answering your phone calls at 844-220-0965 with Aaron Burton, Nancy Heck from the Certified Financial Group. Again, 844-220-0965. I know we usually have the text machine up and running as well, but we do not today. So please give us a call. We have all of our lines open, and usually we've got a couple of questions by now, but today it's a
slow day. I'm starting to take it personally, people.
There's really no dumb
Not me.
questions.
It's me there. Whatever. She's like, yeah.
Compare and contrast over here. And there's really no dumb questions. If there's anything you have in your mind or you've heard somebody say, and hey, you said that, but I don't really know what that means, that's easy. Just come on and give us a text, or don't give us a text, give us a call, 844-220-0965, 844-220-0965.
You know, one thing that we were just talking about in the last segment was end of the year planning type stuff. And one item that we often get a lot of questions about is revolving around required minimum distributions, or RMDs. So if you are turning 70 and a half this year, you need to start thinking about taking distributions from your retirement plans, because those need to be taken usually by the end of the year. You can't push the first one off until April 1st of next year, but you need to start contacting your broker or your investment company. They should be sending you letters reaching out to you, but you need to be thinking about taking that money out of your retirement plans and then deciding how much tax you want to have withheld and then what to do with those dollars. So that's another big thing to think about towards the fourth quarter, or in the fourth quarter of the year. You know, if you haven't taken your required minimum distribution this year, you got to get on that and start thinking about getting that money out of that plan, because if you don't, the tax is 50% of what you should have taken. So,
and 2 additional points is if you do decide to defer your first one, you're going to have to take 2 next year. And I have a number of clients, as I'm sure you do, that like to send their required minimum distributions directly to charitable organizations.
Yes.
So you have to have the proper name, address, and the tax ID number for the charity in order for us to send the money directly to them.
Now, that's a great point. So the qualified charitable distribution is what that is called, is a great way for people that are charitably inclined, because we were just talking also in the last segment about how charitable deductions are going away. But this is, well, not that they're going away, but because the standard deduction is so high, you have to give away so much money in order to qualify for the charitable deduction.
Oh, so your $150 donation last year may not be enough
It's
to
not,
cover.
It's
No,
not going to be enough.
no.
And
Yes.
since mortgage interest is no longer deductible.
That's what you
and-
meant.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Since because the tax law changed, the standard deductions are so high that people are going to have to give away a lot more money or have a lot more mortgage interest in order to qualify to have their own itemized deductions much higher than the standard deduction. So for most people, their charitable giving isn't going to work anymore. However, if you are over 70 and a half and you have an IRA and you're still charitably inclined, the best way to give it away is through that QCD or qualified charitable distribution, like Nancy was just saying, because it's straight. It doesn't count against your required minimum, or it does count against your required minimum distribution, but it doesn't show up on your income. So really, it's a great way to give if you're charitably inclined.
And another point for end of year planning is if you're not 70 and a half, but maybe you will be next year, but you've recognized a lot of growth in your retirement accounts, you could, and so you're obviously over 59 and a half. You might want to do a charitable distribution this year so you can reduce what your potential balance is going to be in December 31st, and then your required minimum distribution next year will be a little bit lower.
Okay,
So
that's one way to look at it.
just
Yeah.
just some things to think about, and that's what we do as certified financial planners in our office in Altamont Springs. You know, there's 12 of us in our office, and we've all gone through the requirements to become certified financial planners, and so we are all qualified to answer any of the questions that you have. So whether you call us today or call us over or during the week or shoot us an email, we're always here to try and help, and that's what we do. So
Is there a tool online anywhere that I can go take a look at and say, well, here's the new tax law and here's how it would apply to me? Or is that not there yet?
yeah, there are tools. Really, it's more about going online, and I would use Google and Google tax
Yeah.
law changes, and you'd be able to put in your income and see what your standard deduction would be. Now, I know people that have used TurboTax. TurboTax will compare what you did last year versus the upcoming year. So, but those are the
There
tools
is
I'm
one
familiar with.
site when the tax law just got voted in. There was a site I had gone to, and I ran tax returns for various different types of filers and various different incomes. I can't remember what it's called though. But it was nice. I mean, it was under the new tax laws. Everybody the different scenarios I ran, all except for really, really high income payers, got significant savings.
Yes.
Okay. Well, again, if you have a question, it's 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. We are planning tomorrow
Today.
with Aaron Burt and Nancy Heck live here in the studio, taking your phone calls and questions right after we get the latest news, weather, and traffic from Dave Wall in the News 96.5 newsroom.
This is News 90.
And welcome back. This is On the Money with the Certified Financial Group right here on News 96.5 WDBO. It is all part of our Ask the Experts weekend. We've got Aaron Burt and Nancy Heck live here in the studio. Taking your phone calls again, 844-220-0965. Nancy, for those of the audience that have joined us during the latest news, weather, and traffic, what can they call you about today?
They can call us about any of their pocketbook issues, retirement accounts, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, not so much on the stocks, long-term care, annuities, financial planning, succession planning, any of the issues that are keeping them up at night as far as their financial future goes.
Okay. Just like that.
Just like that.
844-220-0965. 844-220-0965. And Nancy, I believe we had one correction we wanted to get to before we get to money.
Yes. If you want to do a qualified distribution from your retirement account directly to a charity, you have to be 70 and a half. So
And
the
there-
little strategy I outlined just before the break would work if, say, you wanted to defer your first one. But anyway,
Yes, and it's limited dollar amount, so I think it's limited to 100,000. But if you could give away more than what your RMD is and lower your RMD for the next year, so that is a strategy. So, but it is limited to the people that have to take RMDs.
Gotcha. All right, just like that. All right, let's go to Mike in Melbourne. He's got an RMD question. Mike, go ahead. You're on with the Certified Financial Group.
hi, Mike.
Good morning.
Morning.
What can
You were talking about RMDs. I currently have a portion of an IRA that's I set up a C corp and use the ROB program to invest in setting up my own business. Will I be how's that handled at the time I need to take required minimum distribution when that money is tied up in that business?
You set up the Rob program. I don't know if I'm familiar with that. Can you expand a little bit?
Well, I've heard it referred to as a Rob program, but basically using IRA funds without being taxed, and you invest in your own business. You buy stock in your own C corp.
Yeah, so there has to be a valuation at the end of the year for the business, and that valuation is going to be part of the dollar calculation for your required minimum distribution, just as if it was any other security. It's just that your business is private versus public. But if it's an asset that's in the qualified account, there has to be some valuation.
Okay, and it will be considered in the calculation of the RMD then.
Yes, it would.
Okay, thank you.
You're very
You're
welcome.
That was a great question.
All right, yeah, great question, Mike. A lot of people asking about those RMDs.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people end up trying to put real estate into their retirement accounts, and it might be real estate that they're managing. And there has to be a valuation for the asset that's within the qualified retirement account for required minimum distribution.
There are funky ways to purchase funky things, I should say, within your IRA, and it can get a little bit complicated when you have to start taking distributions. People like it because of the taxes, the tax savings, but it gets a little bit difficult if you don't have, because obviously I don't think his company's probably liquid. So he can't sell the shares in order to generate the money for the RMD. So that RMD money is going to have to come out of some other IRA fund somewhere. So hopefully he's got the funds to be able to do that. So it can get a little bit sticky.
Okay. Let's go to Richard in Severies. Richard, you're on the Certified Financial Group.
Hey, good morning.
Hey,
Good
Richard.
morning.
My question is, if I have hypothetically $120,000 just sitting in a checking account, and it's recent, so it hasn't been in there long, but I'm looking for something that can at least make some earnings on it short term in, say, 3 years or less. What's my best option? I know the initial thought was like putting it in a CD, and some of these advertisements I see in the newspaper, 3.3% APR seems to be the highest, but someone cautioned that some of those could be in offshore, no brick and mortar places, and so you have to be cautious about where you're putting that CD in.
Sure. So from our perspective, there's a big difference between saving and investing. So it sounds to me that you have a definite timeline that you need to get these funds out. So you really can't take any risk with these funds. Is that a correct statement? You want to just have something where you can get guaranteed interest and get your money back in 3 years.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we have all of our retirement accounts set up, but this is some money that we just recently came in through an estate.
Sure.
And we don't necessarily want to dump it in any of our retirement accounts, at least at this point.
Sure.
But
Well, the only things that you can get really out there that have any sort of guarantees tied to them, I think obviously you can do a savings account, you can do a high yield savings account or a money market account. You've also been exploring CDs, and the only other thing I could think of that would give you some sort of guaranteed interest would be a fixed annuity through an insurance company, which is like a CD, but instead of buying it through a bank, you buy it through an insurance company.
And rates have been increasing, so that might be an option. You want to look at the term. You certainly wouldn't want anything more that's than 3 years. And something to pay attention to with the stated interest rate on the CDs. I've noticed that some of them, like you had quoted 3.3, that may not be an annual. That may be a total interest rate over the 3-year period of time. So you would actually be getting 1.1% a year. So make sure that you're looking at the fine print.
Yeah, I will tell you that we've seen a lot of interest in fixed annuities lately, and 3-year rates are probably in the 3.5% area. So that's probably what you should be targeting. And actually, they're going up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those rates creep up a little bit higher.
That would be 3% a year.
That would be an
as
annual
opposed
3%.
to
Correct.
total.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, annualized 3%.
okay, definitely. I'll look into those then. Yeah, we tried to expand the portfolio. We invested in real estate, rental. We have rental properties, so we know we have net fixed income coming in, and of course a retirement account. But when we got these funds planning on retiring, probably in the next 3 years, and so that's why we were thinking of doing something short term.
Sure. So, Richard,
All right.
give our office a call on Monday, and I'll be happy to run a couple quotes for you, give you an idea what's out there for 3% or for 3 years on the fixed annuity side, just to give you an idea.
Sounds good.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
All righty, Richard. Thanks so much for the phone call. If you want Richard's line, it's 844-220-0965. That's 844-220-0965. Also, we have a Facebook video up and running if you want to drop a comment in there. One of the comments we got during the break was about long-term care, I believe, Aaron Bird.
Yes, so we've had a lot of interest lately in long-term care insurance policies. And long-term care is, for those listeners who don't know, is meant to provide a benefit to you when you are unable to take care of yourself. And that's defined by what's called an activity of daily living. So normally, it's a policy that'll pay you a multiple of what you invested into it or what you put into it if you're unable to do 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. And this would be normally it's defined as chronically ill. So if you can't bathe yourself, you can't feed yourself, you can't transfer yourself, you can't walk, you can't go to the bathroom by yourself, and I always forget a couple. Or if you have cognitive impairment, so if you have dementia, the benefits will start kicking in. And there's 2 types of main long-term care insurance policies out there. There's the type like your fire insurance, where you pay a premium every year or every month, and you hope you never use it. And if you never use it, then that premium's gone and you never tapped into the benefits. But if you do use it, then there's a pool of money for you to be able to pull out of. Now, those types of policies have been getting a lot of negative press lately because of the fact that the benefits weren't guaranteed.
And we prefer to use long-term care contracts. It's an actual contract as opposed to a policy. So you're dropping money in either in a lump sum or making annual payments. And you always have access to cash, and the cash earns a fixed tax-deferred interest rate. Or you have money for long-term care, and the policies that I like to use, whether it's home health care, adult day care, assisted living, or full nursing, it pays the same dollar benefit no matter what the need is. The elimination periods, the amount of time that you have to fund your care yourself, are different depending on if it's home health care versus, say, full nursing. If you don't use all the assets either by withdrawing cash or for long-term care needs, then there's death benefit to go to your heirs. So you're never throwing away your money. There's always a use for it.
Yeah, and those are the policies, like Nancy said, they're contracts. So what that means is that the benefits are guaranteed by the insurance company, and the premiums are guaranteed by the insurance company. So they can't come back to you 10 years from now and say, yeah, we did a bad job underwriting that, and we want to raise your premiums or cut your benefits. Which is what's happening with those other types of policies I was mentioning, is that due to poor underwriting, a lot of people are getting rate increase notices, kind of like they can do with your homeowner's insurance. You know, if the hurricane blows through and a lot of homes get damaged, it can raise your homeowner's insurance. It's the same thing that's happening with these types of long-term care policies. But the asset-based type of policy, which is wrapped around either an annuity or a life insurance policy, really provide those guaranteed benefits and premiums, which our clients seem to really, really like. So. And there's all sorts of different ways to fund them. Like Nancy said, you can fund them lump sum. You can do an annual pay. You can actually use part of your IRA, transfer the IRA, and use. So if you have $1 million IRA and you don't want to take out $100,000 to buy a long-term care policy, you can actually take $100,000 and put it in an IRA at the insurance company and really come out of pocket very little, because you're not paying taxes on that money. It's just transferring the IRA from your retirement account over to a retirement account at the insurance company, and then that allows you to get benefits. So lots of different ways to do it, and it's something that we've been seeing a lot of interest in lately.
And much like our planning, which is not cookie cutter, the various different options that you have under the long-term care asset-based program can be tailored to whatever your needs or desires or concerns are.
Yeah, and it's a great. I will say, too, that if you have an annuity, so a lot of people bought annuities back when they were younger, and it's just been sitting there and they don't know what to do with it. Sure. It's very easy to transfer one of those and to take $100,000 and turn it into $300,000 or $400,000 for long-term care. The numbers make a lot of sense for those types of people.
And if you do a transfer from that type of annuity to this, then it's a non-taxable event, which is nice.
Right. So, and again, that's why we've been seeing a lot of interest, because there's a lot of different ways to fund that need. And I think what people are seeing is that they're taking care of their parents, or they have friends, or I mean, they're just seeing the expense associated with dealing with nursing homes, or what it costs really to have someone come in and take care of you, which is really what everybody wants. Because I just think about my own personal situation. I mean, I love my wife, but if I could pay someone to come in and help me take care of her, I think that would be the preferred way to go if I had the funds to do it.
Well, and I think most of our listeners know that my family has lived through this because I've shared a lot of the experiences. So home health care is, and my father-in-law needed 24/7, extremely expensive.
Sure.
But for many people, if they're in assisted or full nursing, you're looking at $8,500 a month, which doesn't cover incidentals. It doesn't cover personal care items. It doesn't cover doctor care. It's just the basics.
Yeah, and
So-
think about the stress that you're draining your savings account, and you're having to take care of your loved one if you don't have some sort of coverage to help you pay those bills and bring somebody in. I mean, it's really, and then again, that's why I think we've been seeing so much interest in it. So.
Well, it's one of the most difficult things to plan for, because you never know how much it's going to cost. You don't know what your health's going to be like.
Exactly.
Well,
in
that's
any
true.
given time.
And, if you die peacefully in your sleep, you have not thrown the money away. There's always something that's going to go to somebody with the type of contract that we prefer to provide for our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you got a question, it's 844-220-0965, 844-220-0965. We have a comment question here on Facebook's live video. We will get to that right after we get the three big things you need to know. Well, it is the final segment of On the Money's Certified Financial Group show, 844-220-0965. It is the last chance to get your question answered by Aaron Burt and Nancy Heck here in the studio. Again, 844-220-0965.
So somebody had written into Facebook asking about the tax site I went to when I could remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And our ACE web guru found the clip that I talked about it on Channel 6, and he has added it to our Facebook page.
Well, there you go. Absolutely. So you just go right if you're
Technology
already.
is so wonderful.
So it's in the comments section of this live video. So if you want to go watch Nancy's YouTube video from when she was on, I believe she was on Channel 6.
Channel
6?
6, and
Yep.
then
Perfect.
you'll get the information about the tax site.
All right.
So-
Well, speaking of Facebook questions, we've got one here from Joshua Smith. What are your thoughts on Florida prepaid program versus a 529 plan for college planning? 529 is better. What state do you recommend?
Well, we actually get this question a lot because people with children are looking at college expenses and they're trying to figure out the best way to pay for it. And first, let me just talk about 529 plans real quick. A 529 plan is nothing more than a savings plan that allows you to put money into it for college. Every state has one. And you put the money in for college, it grows tax deferred, and if you use it for qualified educational expenses, it comes out tax free. And the new tax law actually just changed it so that you can pull out some of that money for pre-college dollars for tuition as well for private schools. But I'm not going to get into that yet. 529s, every state has them. Which is the best one to use? Funny that you can use any state's 529 to pay for your college in any state. So really what we always say is go find the ones with the best investments or the best or the lowest fees, and go find a 529 plan that will work for you. We've had a lot of success. I personally, I think, use the one in Arizona as my kids, but I used to be in Virginia because I really like the plans over there. The Florida plan, I have not seen a lot of people use the Florida plan, and so I don't know too much about it. But again, you can go and do research to find the best 529 for you, and it's really going to depend on what sort of investment vehicles you want to use, because every 529 plan has specific investment providers that they allow on their platform. So,
And if you're going to do a 529, then I suggest that the owner be grandparents or aunts or uncle for the child. If the child has any opportunity to qualify for grants or loans or scholarships, and the parents don't own the 529, it is not reportable on the financial statement. So that's another way to have those dollars work. And if your kid does get the grants or loans or scholarships, then you can change the beneficiary and the dollars can go to somebody else.
very good.
And even
okay.
if you end up going back to school, you can use those $529 if you're doing that after your kids are all done.
All right, so let's talk about prepaid real quick.
Well, I think that because costs have gotten so crazy, to do at least 2 years in state, I think is a good idea. Everybody has to take the same prerequisites, the same classes to, the basics to get them out of the way. So to be in state for the first 2 years and to do tuition, fees, housing, if they're not going to be going to one of the local state colleges, is not a bad thing.
I will say
Bright Futures will cover some. Tuition, you will realize once you're looking at costs for expenses for college, is really one of the smaller costs. It's the housing and the fees and the books and everything else that ends up really costing the big bucks as far as college goes.
Yeah, the Florida prepaid used to be a pretty bad deal. It was a good deal, and then it was a bad deal, and now they changed the law again, and now it's actually not a bad deal. It's a pretty good deal for those people that want to stay in state. And so, they will also, if your child chooses to go out of state, they will pay the same amount that you would have received in state to that out of state university. So it's not that you lose those dollars.
Yeah, there is reciprocity. So.
Yeah, so it's not a bad deal. You can actually buy a whole year worth of tuition, or if you have grandparents that may be inclined or something like that, it's not a bad way to look at it as well. So the 529 website is floridaprepaid.com. Go check it out. For the Florida prepaid, and then you can also learn about the Florida 529 savings plan in there as well. But the prepaid, like Nancy said, for a couple of years, not a bad idea.
All right, well, we got 2 minutes left here before the show. I wanted to give out the workshop dates one more time.
Yes, so Gary Abley has been hosting workshops in our office in Altamont Springs, right there at the corner of Douglas and 434. He has one every month. Actually, he's doing one today, and it is sold out, packed, jam full of people. So don't show up at our office today, please. The next one is actually going to be, November 3rd is going to be his healthcare options and retirement workshop, which actually fills up extremely quick. So if that's something that you're interested in going to, go to our website. He talks about, again, long-term care. He talks about Medicare, and he talks about Medicaid, and extremely popular. So, again, you can go to our website, financialgroup.com, and check that one out. Next one after that will be planning where your savings last a lifetime. That'll be December 1st, again in our office in Altamont Springs, and that runs from 9 to 11. And then the next one after that will be in January 19th. So those are the next 3 workshops. If you're interested in learning about those workshops or learning about Certified Financial Group or asking us a question or learning about Nancy or myself, check us out, financialgroup.com. And that's financialgroup.com.
All right, just like that. And then we'll see you guys back here next Saturday. I believe Nancy will be here, and Joe will be back.
Joe will be back in the new
All right.
studio, too. So check us out on Facebook Live and get to see the new studio.
There you go. Yeah, again, that's going to do it for this week's edition of On the Money with a Certified Financial Group. We have been planning tomorrow.
Today.
We'll see you next week.
Rising up